we are in the Kicking Ass Taking Names podcast. We've got Alex Berman here. Alex Berman, Cold Email King right here. Experiment 27. You changed your name. Cold Email Manifesto. That's a new one.
Email Manifesto.
What's your name now? Like you changed your agency's name like twice, I think, right? Or
no, X27 is still going.
Okay.
Our holding company is A&R Ventures.
Okay.
And what's freaking crazy is this year, we went from having 0 SaaSes to having 4 SaaSes that sold, including one for
partnering with the company, you mean?
Yeah. So A&R Ventures is our holding company where we're basically getting stakes in SaaSes, software companies, and growing them. And yeah, one of them was already acquired for 7 figures. So
dude, you're killing. What's your number? Also, I know you started, your original was YouTube. That's where everybody who will recognize you from this, because you're not known everywhere, but you're known for sure you're known in like cold email. You're for sure known in email marketing, online, stuff like that, and YouTube a little bit. So I didn't check recently. What is your number now for YouTube subscribers, stuff like that?
YouTube, we just crossed 90,000. We're at like 91,000.
Yeah, and then you also have, you're not big on Instagram though. You're big on mainly YouTube, right?
Mainly YouTube, Instagram. I think we have like 15,000, and then Twitter? We've got like over 50K on Twitter.
I still have that video of when we were on the rooftop in Vegas.
That's so cool.
Dude. And remember, I kept hitting, like, everybody's just like, dude, don't gamble. I started gambling, kept hitting these numbers. Remember, I started with $8 on the machine, and you guys are like, oh man, I take calculator risk. I'm like, let's go. And then they do $8, like $160 in like 2 minutes.
Yeah, that was insane.
I was doing that I've done that every trip to Vegas. I've gone to Vegas 10 times over 10 years I go with $50, and I always walk out with $300 to $500. But I also pull out money as I'm making it so that I never risk. And I just play really smart. Like, I play really small bets and try to get as many bets as I can. So it like increases the odds, even though it's still risky. But yeah, dude. So
I think some people are just wired for gambling, bro. That's the thing. Like, my little brother's like that too. Like, he'll play. I was sitting next to him, we were playing Baccarat, and I saw a $1 bet hit the freaking lucky nines. He won $1,000 off $1.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, when I gamble, I always lose. Even recently, I was in Vegas. We were playing blackjack, like $50 hands, and I went down. I lost 200 in about 2 minutes, bro, because I just kept going.
If you go to like, what's it called, MGM, or not even MGM, if you want to go to Caesars, dude, that's where you lose like money the fastest, I feel like, because it's $20 a hand or whatever it is. You can lose so quickly, and the bigger your pot to start with, the more. But aside from the gambling, I know you lived in Vegas for a long time. Where are you now?
I'm in Orlando.
Oh, okay. Nice. So you live there now, or?
I don't really live anywhere. I'm just kind of floating around because I was in India for 9 months this year. Something like that, 8 months this year. And then before that, I was in the UK. And then before that, I was in India. And then before that, I was in Vegas. So I went from Vegas to India.
I remember it was right after I left, because I went right before COVID, and then COVID, and then you probably were in town for COVID because you can't do much. And then as soon as it opened up a little bit, you were like traveling.
As soon as they got rid of as soon as they let us travel, I left the country.
Yeah. I remember you were living, I remember you still have the same Prius?
No. I've been driving a smart car.
Oh, there you go. The Prius. I was like, dude, this guy got a broken Prius, and he's got like enough money to buy a freaking any car. But I like that though. That's like humility. Like, in a way, it kind of keeps you grounded, and like, this is I'm focused on my business, and that's what I care about.
It's humility. It's also logistics, meaning like, how soon after that did I leave the country, right? If I have like a $150,000 sports car, now what? I'm gonna have to park it somewhere for 9 months while I leave the country, and then it's gonna be outdated by the time you get back.
True.
The same reason why, like, I don't live in any of the real estate that I own. It's all just rental properties, because it doesn't matter to me. I wouldn't want to have a house that's like sitting here while I'm gone most of the time. I like the freedom to do whatever. Yeah.
I mean, so currently you're in Orlando, you were traveling, you were building the agency. And then I remember at the point that we spoke last time. So it sounds like you started the whole SaaS thing between now and then, because before you were just kind of like, hey, I've already outsourced my CEO. I've already, done all that stuff. So I just kind of, I don't really take a hand. You didn't take a hand in the company as much. You were more doing the YouTube stuff. So yeah, like, what have you been currently up to? I mean, love to catch up on what you've been doing.
Yeah, it was right after that. So we had, at that point, I only had one SaaS that was simple apps that was making like $400 a month. And then I was like, what is the point of this? So I went to Flippa and I just listed it for sale for like 6,000. And it sold very quick, like within like 3 or 4 days. And
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit. So $400 in revenue is worth $6,000.
Yeah.
So every dollar that I'm making at the agency is worth $1. So I feel like I should only work on SaaS because it's worth, every dollar is worth what? I don't know what the math is on that, but it's like every dollar is worth $10, $15.
Something, yeah. I mean, it's
Yeah.
all, I guess I'm sure it's all dependent, but that's crazy that you were able to, like, whatever you get into. I mean, because you built a pretty good skill set, and people who don't know, like, you were the cold email, like, you're known as, like, hailed as like a cold email king pretty much on YouTube. And for marketers, this is like, that's something that people really struggle with. The first thing I noticed was, and I'm not going to go too technical here, but I would blast out emails and then that would suck. And then I was like, I actually had more success when I first started doing emails than later, because I started getting like, well, I can do a larger number of emails and I don't have to customize them as much, and I can automate and I can sell 5 million deals overnight. And ended up turning out that doing it the old school way is like the best way. But if you can't do that, then you can still do like the first line writers and the customize and the research. And I'd love to learn more about the research stuff, and we'll see if we have time. But as far as like what you've been doing, let's go into quickly what got you started, and then kind of like your backstory, because like I know a lot of people might not know, and this is like, I don't know if you have a YouTube video on it. I haven't checked every video, but if you have a video on like your backstory, I know you talk a little bit about like how you started. What was your beginning and what got you into the world of entrepreneurship and to be able to do what you're doing today?
What got me into the world of entrepreneurship? So when I was in college, I didn't really even know like what a job was. Like my the only thing I knew was like from the movie Office Space. They're all like in an office, cubicles. I didn't even know what people were doing for work. And then I read the 4 Hour Work Week, and I just started. That kind of framed everything for me. So I think I was really lucky that I didn't really have an idea of what an office was or anything like that. And then I read that and I'm like, okay, Muse business, hiring freelancers. And then from there, I just tested a couple things. None of it really worked. And then eventually I stumbled upon the Silicon Valley product development cycle, which was really big at the time, lean product development. And part of that was sending cold emails to get feedback from clients. And so I did that, bro. I sent some cold emails, and I was just so shocked because I was out there in Florida, knew nobody, and I was emailing Silicon Valley CEOs and getting responses from people like, the CEO of Udemy, which was a big deal back. Udemy was a big deal back.
I'm still on Udemy. I have a course.
Okay, yeah.
What?
So all these guys were getting back, and I had no connections, and it just destroyed this this mindset that I had, because at the time I thought, you need to know people to make it, and the fact that you could just email people that you don't know, and they just respond to you, is magical, and it's something that I still lean into today. Even with Taplio, like when we were first starting our LinkedIn AI SaaS, I emailed a bunch of these like LinkedIn influencers with 100,000 followers, and one of the people that got back with feedback was Mark Cuban, like billionaire Shark Tank. Mark Cuban wrote like multiple paragraphs about Taplio for his feedback. And then same way, like when we were trying to get enterprise users, I emailed Tesla and I emailed McKinsey and Prezi, and like these guys just took my offer. They were down to sign up for Taplio. So it's insane. It worked back then, it works now. That's it.
What year was that back then?
That was I don't know, I'm so bad with time, dude. Maybe 2012.
10 years.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, well, you look super young. So how old are you right now? So I thought you were like in your like mid 20s or something.
I'm 31 right now.
Yeah, that's wild. Dude, you have like a super baby face, but that's good for you because you're gonna be like 50 and you're still gonna look like you're like 30. But so like let's go. So what's so you started this cold email thing, but like what got you to like learn about that? Because I know you said you were reading the product development cycle, but there's a lot of things people out there, they don't know, like, okay, there's so many courses, so many places to look. Like, what's your best learning experience and advice for that?
My best learning experience has been getting out there in the world. That's the other thing I really love about cold email. And I haven't talked about this in a long time, but cold email is one of the few areas where you get real-time market feedback. Like you were saying, you send 100 emails, and if nobody opens it, guess what? Either your subject line was terrible,
Yeah.
or your leads were bad. And
Yeah.
then you can fix that, and then you get a little better. And then maybe you send an email with a good subject line and people are like saying unsubscribe, or they're giving you bad feedback. Then you know something's wrong there, and you can fix it. Very few other marketing channels give you that feedback. Like a couple other ones do. If you go to an event and you know, pitch a couple people, say the wrong thing, you might offend them, and you can get better by the end of the event and like get really good. You know, cold calling is also like that. Cold emails like that. But what's interesting about cold email and the way I learned using that is, if I had done the same thing with Facebook ads, I don't think I would have learned anything, bro. I think I would have spent 10,000, 20,000 on Facebook ads and not had a single piece of data. But by spending $0 and just sending a couple emails, I was able to learn so much.
And I think that's it too. Like, I think people, so would you say that people today are overthinking like their marketing strategy?
Yeah, everything I've done has been through trial and error. Because even when I was learning how to cold call, I didn't, all I did was call restaurants, and I was like, hey, is the owner in? And just kind of get passed through, like kind of just feel it out. Rep after rep after rep after rep. Yeah, I think people overthink it. I think people take too many courses, and there's some stuff you can learn from courses. Don't get me wrong, but I know where we are right now, I would much rather hire an expert than join a course and try to do it ourselves.
You do have email 10K, and that's been pretty popular.
Yeah, we've got, so email 10K is now expanded into the email 10K mastermind. So it basically comes with access to all the courses plus group coaching, and we're going to have other coaches that you get access to really soon. So I like the idea of that as well. But it comes down to taking action. Like, even if you took email 10K, one of the first things we have you do is you know, cold call agencies and ask them to partner with you on white label deals. Like, that's the first or second module. Yeah. And if you compare that to other courses will have you create like a ICP, like an ideal client profile, and have you answer dozens and dozens of questions. And that's just not valuable, bro. I'd rather have you making cold calls and fail or succeed. And that's what I've seen with our courses too, bro. Even I gave my little brother, who's never worked in an agency before, access to email 10K, and even he was able to land those white label deals off of 3 or 4 cold calls, having never done it before. And a lot of people think they need the courses, they need all the shit, but what they really need to do is pick up the phone and talk to their target clients.
I like that too, because it's like you're taking action in real time. You're not just watching a module and then by the end you're like, what was the first or second module again? You're forgetting. So it's like you getting involved in all of this. Like, I mean, what is it that you particularly like? What's your goal right now? I know you're growing the SaaS, you're growing your companies. Like, people, like, what I want to get out of this is that you've had a large amount of success in your life for like the time that you're at. You know, you've done pretty well, and like, people want to know, like, how do I automate? Because I saw you walk around Vegas and you're like, yeah, man, like, your company's kind of handled, and I just kind of like, he's like, yeah, I'm just looking at what's next. I'm like, well, what do you do? Like, I sat down with you, I remember we had dinner, and you said like, yo, you got to look at, like, for example, you knew a guy who did like a cyber security, and he emailed a cybersecurity company, and he got a deal from that, and that one deal is worth 200,000. It's like, it sounds so easy when you say it. It's like, but what's the strategic steps, and how do you get there? Like, how do you become that person? What is it that you did to become that person? Like, some of the stuff that you think about that are, it's in the back of your mind, but you may not be thinking about all the time, right?
I don't know, dude. I really feel like you just tap into the universe. Because where was I was sitting in India, and I was fucking around with Tweet Hunter, and I'm like, this is sick. I love this app. And then I reached out to the founder of Tweet Hunter. I was like, I really want to own Tweet Hunter. I think that would be crazy. And I don't want to pay any money for it. I think that would be sick. So I reached out to the founder of Tweet Hunter, and I was like, hey, are you open to partnerships? And he said, maybe, potentially. And he hopped on a call, and I was like, bro, you know, I'd love to help grow this app. and I would love to take equity. And he's like, I can't give you any equity in this app, bro. We're already big. We're already growing. And I was like, okay, do you have any other ideas? And he's like, yeah, I mean, I have this other thing that's like Tweet Hunter for LinkedIn. And I was like, okay, it's called Influent Leaders. That's what he said. I was like, all right, well, it needs a new name and it needs to be rebranded. And I was able to get an equity stake in Influent Leaders. And so through that, what it turned out, that deal as it evolved, yeah, like we made Tamplio, we grew it. And what happened with that deal is Influent Leaders, which then became Tamplio, was owned by Pony Express, which owned Tweet Hunter. So through that deal of getting Tamplio, I ended up owning Tweet Hunter, exactly what I wanted, for no money down, for free. So that's what I mean. Like, it is easy, bro. You know, like you just kind of think what you want, and then you know, you get it. You go there and you get what you want.
Well, it's like you're creatively looking at, and this is like what I've seen you're really good at, is you're creatively looking at ways to get things that you want. Like whether it's like someone to respond to an email, or if it's like, I want to own a piece of this company, you're finding ways to get what you want. Like, what were you like? Were you just like a little mischievous kid, like when you're a little kid, or what were you doing as a kid to like have that mindset of like, I'm gonna find out like how to get that thing and go after that? What were you doing?
What was I doing as a kid?
Yeah.
I was just playing a lot of World of Warcraft, bro. But the thing that trained me, I think, was it was botting in World of Warcraft. Because even back then, if you think about it, like I was sick of leveling, so I would get bots to level for us, or like I would hire the Chinese, you know, the Chinese
Dude, I'm
farmers
laughing so
to
hard
get
because
us the
I used to
gold.
play, dude. I had 300 days playing time on one kid.
Dude, I would what I would do at some points, I was so addicted, I would play on one account while the levelers were leveling my other account.
Dude, I was playing. I had a level 70 Shadow Priest. I literally would just dot people, and I had all the Sunwell gear and all the resilience, like enchantments. I can go into like the nerd stuff about that. I won't. But dude,
But
that's hilarious.
it's meditative, bro. Because even earlier this year, like I was kind of depressed about all this shit. Like I felt like I wasn't moving fast enough. And so I was like kind of in a hole in the UK, like just playing World of Warcraft again. And I just started listening to audiobooks, you know, $100 million offers, like all these fucking audiobooks playing. And I get hyped up again.
Yeah.
Then I'm like, why am I playing World of Warcraft when I could be
Yeah.
running the
Slap
SaaS
it to
company?
the side.
Yeah, exactly. So it is all cyclical, you know, it's
Dude,
all
that's like me that's like me, and like I just started doing like the whole martial arts and gym thing, and that's like what I've been consistent in. And I'll be like, oh man, I don't feel really good about that, and I'll be at home, and I'm trying to work on the business, but I don't do as well if I'm not also like working out, like feeling good. Like that's my obsession. Like that's what drives me. So for me, like, dude, we had some great conversations in Vegas, and I remember we were like, they were so entrepreneurial. Everybody's just so like, all right, I bet you we could get this pizza, and I bet you we could beat this line. I'll give this guy $100 for the pizza. It's like, well, why would you give him $100 for pizza? It's like, dude, you see the length of that line? We don't have time. Like, we're busy guys. Like, and then he paid him, and it's like $100 for
Oh,
the
you
pizza.
saw that happen. Yeah, Mark.
Yeah, that was hilarious. He's like, yeah, I'll give him $100 for the pizza. The guy got out of line. I don't even think he ever got pizza that day. He's just like, screw it, took his $100. But that was a good trade for that guy. He stayed
He
in line.
ate our pizza. If you remember, we bought 2 pizzas, and then Mark took our pizzas and sold it to these rich guys at the back
Oh
of
wait,
the
no, he
line for
sold it. Yeah,
$100.
not bought
We
it.
didn't
Sorry.
get pizza. If you remember this, we
We
didn't get
sold
pizza.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. So the next time me and Mark went, I made sure that as soon as I got that pizza box, I opened one of them and grabbed a slice because I knew he couldn't sell half of a pizza, dude. So
Yeah.
if I just started eating it, I'd be able to get that pizza. And then he did it again. Like maybe 2 days later, he did it again.
Dude, he could do like a hustle on the side and start like a whole put a whole YouTube video out on how I made like $300 a week selling pizza. That's
Yeah,
like crazy.
Mark's a pure hustler. Maybe you should have him on this podcast because he doesn't have any personal brand or anything, but he's got a really high net worth, like surprisingly high.
Yeah. What does he do
By
again?
playing stocks, real estate,
Yeah,
that sort of stuff. And then he does it's like a coder, bro. It's
well,
SRE.
how's your other buddy doing, the Asian guy? What's his name? Dennis Yu, right? Dennis Yu.
Yeah, he's doing good. He's got his PR company, his Facebook ads company. Like he's grinding.
Yeah, you guys were all killing it. But I remember I was the only one willing to gamble, so I think I'm a little more risk averse.
Yeah.
It pays off. But I'll never gamble and lose. Like I hate losing, so I won't do that. But yeah, man. So like, how's like right now? How has everything been going as far as like this whole expansion into SaaS? And then what's your motivation for that? Because um, what I want to get is like, what is it that's driving you right now? You know?
Yeah, the thing that's driving me is I want a big company. You know, I want a company that's worth $1 billion. I feel like that'd be pretty sick. You know, to keep increasing the size of the companies, and
Yeah.
it's becoming clearer and clearer to me exactly what we need to do. You know, it's like acquire a company or build a company that has the potential to scale to that level. Create an offer that has the potential to scale to that level. Book enough meetings, get the sales team in place, and then grind it there. We've had a couple roadblocks. You know, some of the SaaS, like one of the ones we sold was because we couldn't book a single meeting for it. It was a chatbot SaaS, and so
Really?
we sold that for 5 figures with no revenue, which is insane. To a strategic buyer, they liked the way the chatbot was built. So that sucks. So I don't know, bro. I'm just kind of grinding because I mean, there's a big company in me somewhere. We
Yeah.
just got to make it happen.
Or there's a
And I
company
think
that helps.
eventually all the pieces are going to line up, and we're gonna take off like a rocket ship, because I've already seen it. I've already had a couple rockets that have blown up. You know, like they've been taken off, and then they've been blowing up. So I think one of these is going to go to the moon, as it were.
You're if you do this enough times, right? Like you could do the whole Hermosi thing where Hermosi's like running acquisitions.com, and he's just trying to blow up as many companies as he can and take them from 3 to 30 million. He has a very specific strategy and a specific, thing. Are you going to do the whole Hermosi thing? Is that what you want to do, or?
I don't have any plans like that. All I want is I want one of these companies to sell for a lot. And 7 figures is not a lot. I need a 9-figure exit, or it's not really gonna get me off, you know.
Well,
It's not gonna get me off.
Do you know what? Do you know what? Dang, I'm losing my train of thought right there. You know what that one company, the company that sold it, Under Armour, Fitness Pal,
Okay.
Fitness Pal. All they did was acquire, I think something. I mean, they acquired a lot of users. I think they acquired. Shoot, I'm gonna look it up, dude. I don't have a Jamie in the studio like JRE,
Yeah.
but MyFitnessPal, dude. I remember we used to use this in high school for like our high school health class, and that was like the biggest way to acquire a bunch of users. Like all these kids forced to sign up for school like curriculum, but they had sells to Under Armour. I think these guys sold for like 345 million, and they had 200 million users. Under Armour acquired MyFitnessPal back in 2015 for 475 million.
Mm-hmm.
So that's crazy. Back in the day, it was worth more. But
Well, it shows you what the monetization is, right? If they're only getting $4 per user,
yeah,
right? Imagine like a company like Omni wouldn't get $4 per user. We would get, $2,000 or $3,000 per user, or $4,000 per user even. So that's what's cool about, B2B SaaS
yeah.
versus B2C SaaS. So yeah, I mean, it's becoming super clear to me the exact path we need to take. And I think that's why it's becoming easier to get stakes in these companies, because I can speak with confidence now. I'm like, all right, yeah, dude. I mean, we're just gonna fucking come in, we're gonna do these 3 or 4 things, and then we're gonna be on track. And assuming we can, get the SaaS to a good spot, assuming we can get these 3 or 4 hires, like we'll be good to go.
And that, well, so
and I think when I talk like that, it becomes very simple. And I'm always impressed when it plays out exactly as I picture it. And it gives me a lot more confidence. It gives me a lot more confidence now. Like for Omni, I really think we could become a $1 billion company, and I don't think I would sell for anything less than $1 billion. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Because I also think there's some stuff about Omni that we haven't announced yet. In terms of like giving back to the community and all of that, which I haven't seen anybody else in the B2B SaaS space do yet.
yeah,
A lot of SaaS founders are very greedy. They want to take all the equity for themselves instead of giving it to the community. And I know when I was just a community guy, all I wanted to do was get a little bit of that equity. So I think there's a huge play when it comes to fundraising as well, that sort of stuff. And people are all in on bootstrapping for literally no reason, right? Like who cares if you made 300 million as a bootstrapper or 300 million as a, you fundraised it. I don't, maybe some people care, but I don't care about that. I would rather just hit the number as quick as possible.
Yeah. Yeah. So you looks like you're on your track to that. What's your free time? What's your like leisurely life looking at? You're too busy right now, or you going out? You see, seems like you're in Orlando. It's a beautiful place.
I haven't been, I'm not really a going out type, but yeah, I've been dating a little bit. And I just hired a Tinder coach, Tinder date booker.
Tell me about that. You were telling me about that. That's funny.
So these guys basically they'll optimize the profile. They'll take the pictures. They'll make sure it's good. They send date ideas. So like, go to these 3 coffee shops. It's good vibes. Go over to this. They sent me the thing. It's like, you could take this girl boating. And I was like, all right,
this is the coupon right here that they're affiliate.
Yeah, no, that's what they did. They're like, it's only $200 for 2 people. Like, yeah, right, maybe a second date. You didn't know you're not a murderer first before you take them out.
They're gonna get the
isolated boat trip.
And they're getting all the affiliate commission, and they're racking up points.
Oh, for sure.
Or they pre-book it with their points, and then they just charge you cash, and then they're getting points back.
Hey, I'm not a hater on people that are trying to make money. That's the thing, bro. All businesses make money. Like, you go to you go to Olive Garden, for instance, and they're charging $22 for pasta, but nobody's calling them a scam. It cost them 50 cents to make that shit. Yeah, all businesses make money.
I went to a high-end Mexican restaurant. We had some really good tacos, but there's only 3 small tacos. It's like $20.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, and like, you want to, order something like to drink, it's like $20.
Dude, the craziest thing about the restaurant business too is I bet Olive Garden makes more than this high-end Mexican place.
Yeah.
Because they're charging $20 for even cheaper ingredients. They don't even salt their water.
Depends on the store, but like some of the cheap, it depends on the food costs as well. Like some of the Mexican food's like super cheap, but then there's also handmade tortillas and this and that, and they try to do all this artisan stuff, and then they could lose some costs there, and that's why they have to charge more. But I mean, so now looking at the way that you've been running, and like, you got Experiment 27, you've got the Omnis, like you guys working with SaaS. So now you're focused, like, is there anything in particular that you're really excited about today? Like, because I know there's new technologies all the time. Like, you were looking at, okay, I did cold email. Then we talked about like, okay, here's your line, like sometimes they're like line writing softwares, or like segmentation, email segmentation, and all that stuff. What are you excited about today in the world of technology?
I think automated omni-channel outbound. Exactly like what we're doing it on
like
Omni.
For Instagram rather than like just everything else, you mean?
Well, it's everything. Yeah, I think being able to be everywhere for clients is going to be the future, right? Because we're getting increasingly fragmented. It used to be you could guarantee that people would be in their email inbox.
Yeah.
Or you could guarantee that people would be on LinkedIn. But I've seen a lot of influencers, or even a lot of business people that aren't on LinkedIn, salespeople that are up and coming that have even 7-figure companies that don't have LinkedIn accounts.
Right.
And they're only on Twitter. They possibly don't even have email. So being able to get into one tool, get into one spot.
Can you make that? Can you make that? Because we need that.
That's Omni. That's what we're building. Okay. So Omni right now does cold email and text, and soon it'll do Twitter and LinkedIn and handwritten notes and
Instagram DMs. Please add Instagram DMs in there.
Yeah, if we can figure out the how to do it without getting banned.
Yeah, that one's the hard one. Yeah.
We never want to get an account banned.
Yeah, that's the hard.
That's the main thing, bro. It's like, you'll never go broke booking meetings for companies. All companies need leads and they need meetings. That's it. And so that's everything that I focus on. It's like, how can we book more meetings for people? How can we turn their current meetings into more money? But honestly, just booking like quantity of meetings. As long as we can just do that, there's always going to be money there.
What's your magic formula? Can you release that? Like, what's your magic formula for hitting guaranteeing, like, because I've done campaigns and they've fallen flat on their face. And then I've had some that have done pretty decent, but I've almost never done one that's like blown out of the water. Like, I've always had to work with some other consultant. They're like, hey, you're doing this and this wrong. And I've had to update over time. What's your advice to someone who's like growing a campaign, blowing out the water? Like, I mean, because some of these offers are pretty hard. Like, from what I've seen, I mean, they're not that easy. You could have an amazing campaign. The offer can land flat. So what's your thing? What's your like secret to that?
it's testing, but also, yeah, you got to think through it. So for instance, when we were going after like, Tesla and these corporate clients for Taplio, originally I tried, the standard way of like reaching out to these guys, trying to book a demo, all this shit. And I was like, all right, that's not working. It wasn't working. So what I instead did was I looked up these linked influencers that had over 100,000 followers. And I was like, all right, I'm just going to give these linked influencers that work at these companies free accounts. And then if they want to add people on their team, they can. That's fine. So I just reached out and I was like, hey, I really respect the content you're doing on LinkedIn. Really love this. Here I have this tool, Taplio, that'll help you write content automatically. Would love to give you a free account. Are you interested? And so I sent that out. I think we only sent like 100, 150 emails. And of those 150 emails, we booked, over 20 enterprise company, like fucking McKinsey, dude, Tesla,
Wow.
Prezi, these companies. And now these logos are on our website. Yeah, Apple got back, somebody from Apple, but they said they already had a tool like that internally. Like, it's insane. If you really want a campaign to perform, make it a no-brainer offer. This was me coming to them as a fan. I wasn't saying I would really love to see Tesla use this shit. I was like, I'd really love to see you use this stuff. And I love your content. Yeah, you happen to work at Tesla.
Yeah.
Sure. But I never mentioned that, until the logo was up on the website.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, that's like the creative. I mean, I it never fails to like inspire me that you're like so creative. I literally watched your videos. For anybody else who's looking, and wants to get to know more about you, they could find you, Alex Berman. What's is your YouTube channel just Alex Berman, or is there cold email mastery? No.
Yeah, youtube.com/Alex Berman.
Yeah. Alex Berman 1 on Insta.
On Instagram, or Alex Berman on Twitter.
Yeah.
You're more of an Instagram guy than a Twitter guy, but that's Twitter's the place I'm most active right this second. But I'm also on LinkedIn, we're everywhere.
What do you think about Twitter? You think it's gonna blow up the stock and all that because of Elon, or?
There's no stock anymore, it's private. But I think when it IPOs again, yeah, it'll be bigger than Apple.
I don't know what happened then to my shares because I have them somewhere.
Oh, they're gonna turn into cash at 54.20, bro. You made money. If you bought at any price, you made money, dude. Yeah, hell yeah.
Cool. Good. Well, so anyways, we've got like 2 minutes left in the thing because this thing is like gonna end. What's your best advice for people watching this?
Everything is super predictable and super straightforward. It just comes down to understanding what the game is. So for instance, like for a B2B SaaS, all it comes down to is crafting the offer, creating something that sells for a high enough price point that you can recruit a team, then getting the director of sales in there, sending the cold emails, booking the meetings, hiring the sales team, scaling it up, right? So it's finding that, find those little tricks, understand the game, and then anything is possible. The other thing is start thinking bigger, dude. This is the other big thing I realized. I know we're almost out of time here. But it's whatever I imagine in my mind happens. So imagine bigger stuff. Like I thought Tesla could be a great client for Taplio. That's freaking insane. I thought that Mark Cuban might be able to give us feedback. That's insane. And yet there you go. You send a cold email or two and it happens. So picture that in your head and start thinking bigger and start going after the stuff instead of just waiting for someday.
Yeah, that's really good advice. Everybody who's listening, Alex Berman, you can find him on YouTube. It's the #1 place to go. And if you have any other questions, feel free to reach out.